My name's Amanda Watmo, and today I'm here to discuss my game idea, the Rejects Request and Invite. In Rejects Request and Invite, players dive into a darkly hilarious and twisted version of Mario's world, where the cool characters rule the roost. It's a land of epic games, legendary parties, and cherished friendships. But for the Rejects, it's a land of exclusion. Branded as unsettling, spooky, and losers, they've always been left out. Even Bowser thinks they're lame. The genre of this game is action adventure with a mix of platform based and turn based tactics. The setting is reminiscent of Mario's landscape, but through the eyes of the rejects, it has become a much darker place. The world is filled with jagged mountains, creepy castles, and shadowed forests, creating a stark contrast to Mario's cheerful universe. The once bright and colorful Mushroom Kingdom now features eerie, twisted versions of familiar locales, adding a sense of foreboding and dark humor to the adventure. The gameplay is simple. It's where players lead a squad of rejected characters through a whimsical warped world. Along the journey, they'll stumble upon special items that boost their cool points. They'll do this along the platforms, jumping and heaving over different things and hitting blocks to gain cool points. Or they'll face off against Mario's elite guests in turn based tactical battles. Victories in these battles allow players to claim their opponent's skin as a disguise, leveling up their power points in the process. The end game? Confront Mario himself to prove their worth and earn a coveted spot in his exclusive crew. It's a zany adventure packed with humor and strategy where even rejects can seize the spotlight. First character, we have Gritty Goomba. His emotion is resilient, determined, and stubborn. His colors, when painted in, will be dark with hints of muted gold and crimson. His shape is triangular with rounded edges. His texture is smooth, like a little baby mushroom. His lines will be varying, but they're jagged. His speed will be moderate but steady, gaining bursts of speed after power ups. His size is going to be small to medium, and he grows slightly with each acquired disguise. His opposing concepts are rejected, opposed to his soft, rounded little Goomba friends. In my drawings, you'll see how I poked out the edges of a traditional Goomba. So I've made him more triangular in shape to depict a more aggressive character. I've even put in little triangles on his outfit and made his shoes more pointed, as well as his eyes are triangular in both their pupils as well as their outsides, and his teeth are very sharp as well. For my next character, we have Killa Koopa, whose main emotions are rude and ruthless. He is dark green and black with red accents in color when he's going to be colored in. His shape has a smooth shell with pointed features. His texture is bumpy and turtle-like. His lines are strong and bold with sharp angles. His speed is fast with frequent bursts of speed when he hides in a shell, and his size is medium. His opposing concept is obedient and sweet, opposed to his loyal, rounded, and smooth Koopas. For Koopa, he is a defiant character who refuses to accept his rejection. His dark color, triangular decorated shell, and sharp features symbolize his rebellious nature and determination to stand out. As he defeats his opponents, he gains new powers, and his appearance becomes more and more imposing, and his abilities more formidable. In my drawings, you can see how I've chosen to make the traditional Koopa into a scarier one with pointed up eyes, the pupils, as well as his eyelids. I've also pointed out the beak of his nose and made his claws sharper. And as you can see, even his shell represents the triangles that exude the more aggressive nature of Killa Koopa. For my next character, we have Burden Boo. His main emotion is melancholic and stressed. His color is pale white with dark, shadowy undertones. His shape is spherical with sad triangle spikes. His texture is ethereal, ghostly, with a translucent glow. His lines are flowing with occasional sharp turns. His speed is slow and floaty, and he speeds up when stressed, which is often. His size is medium and fluctuates slightly with emotion, usually getting larger when he is upset. His opposing concepts are joyful, opposed to his round and bright boos. Burden Boo is a melancholic spirit who longs to join Mario's crew. His pale, translucent form and soft, flowing lines convey sadness and longing. However, his appearance shifts subtly as he gains confidence and abilities, reflecting his hope and determination to prove his worth. In my drawing of Burden Boo, you'll see that his fins that are at the top of his head are always kind of pointed down in a sad, droopy way. Same thing with his eyes, they're always a little bit downturned. However, they're still keeping their triangular shape. That, as well as his teeth, are sharp in nature, adding to the aggressive nature and keeping with the theme of more angular features. One thing to note is even when Burden Boo is happy, he's a happy crier. To design a character-centric environment for my game using a top-down approach, I followed several steps. So for step one, I defined the emotional experience. My objective was to evoke feelings of rejection, resilience, and eventual triumph through the journey of underdog characters in this surreal and eerie world. My inspiration comes from the Mario universe, but it uses contrasting elements in order to make the world feel unsettling and compelling. I use more angular shapes and darker colors. My step two was to establish design goals. So I wanted to create an eerie and surreal atmosphere, and I did this by using angular, distorted shapes and muted colors in contrast to the cheerful Mario world. For character harmony, I wanted to reflect the unique attributes of my characters in the environment using more triangular shapes and imperfect drawings in both my environment and in my characters. I particularly like this style because I am no artist, therefore, I feel like my sketchy, imperfect drawings kind of add to the unsettling view of the story. For dynamic progression, my levels evolve in complexity and visual style to mirror the character's growth and increase in confidence. A high concept outline for key environments. The game world consists of interconnected regions reflecting different stages of character's journey. Each has a distinct visual gameplay element aligned with the character's emotions and abilities. So, for instance, Gritty Goomba's Jagged Mountains, the emotions I want to emote are harshness and struggle. The visuals I'll use are sharp, angular cliffs and industrial looking square blocks. I like the square shape because it highlights the stability of them. And then the lighting will be a way to add color but still keep the creepy feeling. For the gameplay of this one, they will be performing platforming challenges requiring precision and timing, representing Gritty Goomba's resilience and determination. For the eerie forest, this is our next step. The emotions I would like to elicit are sadness and being spooked and scared. The visuals are tall, twisted trees using light to inject a sense of unease. The gameplay will be stealth and puzzle solving elements at the end with a battle, turn by turn based tactics. And what I envision for this scene is that there's other Mario characters from the original traditional game that are moving throughout, and the rejects have to hide and move stealthily through the forest in order to reach their opponent, which is Yoshi. I liked Yoshi as their opponent because Koopa is the perfect opposite to Yoshi, and I think he'd look really funny in that costume and his skin. The next one is creepy castles. This is for Bird and Boo. The emotions we want to elicit are intimidation and resilience. The visuals will be a Gothic architecture with jagged towers and more detail. However, it will still be really sketchy in its design and look a little dilapidated and poorly put together. For the gameplay, this will be combat-focused sections with strategic battles, mirroring Bird and Boo's melancholic nature and his determination to prove his worth. I have to integrate visuals and gameplay elements. So for this, I'm going to have dynamic obstacles, including moving platforms, collapsing bridges, and environmental hazards to challenge the players to reflect the characters' struggles and collect cool points. There'll be interactive objects such as levers, switches, and hidden triggers that unlock new areas and provide power-ups and extra cool points, encouraging exploration and problem solving, as well as visual cues like lighting and colors to guide players to important blocks. For step five, it's the character environment relationship. So we could see how previously we spoke about Gritty Goomba's Jagged Mountains. The harsh background, mountains, and square shapes mirror Gritty Goomba's resilience and determination. I really like how the squares kind of give that resilient nature to them for the blocks there. They seem heavy and grounded and stubborn, just like Gritty Goomba is. For this level, we will have platform challenges that will reflect this player's determination in progress, and he'll have boosts of speed representing his moments of triumphs. For Killikoopa's eerie forest, the twisted trees and shadowy undertones reflect Killikoopa's rebellious and scary, ruthless nature. Finding Yoshi without being seen by other characters in this first hurdle is so funny, just because I can't wait to see that little disguise pop on his head. And then for Bird and Boo's creepy castle, the Gothic architecture and jagged towers complement Bird and Boo's melancholic and stressed emotions. So I really like the dichotomy of kind of he's the most smooth character and round and floaty, and just juxtapositioned by the really heaviness of the castle. I just think that's a really fun dichotomy. For this one, it will be very combat based, and it will symbolize the internal battles and growing determination to prove his worth. For step six, we have the evolving environment. As players progress through the game, the environment should evolve to become more demanding as their evolved powers do. symbolizing the character's growth and increasing confidence, and also just making the gameplay harder for the player. Though the earlier levels are simpler, the mid-game levels start to introduce more intricate designs and reflect the character's ability to transverse in scary situations facing their fears, for example, the fear of being rejected. The endgame levels are bigger and more daunting, showing that the hurdles to self-love aren't easy and neither is trying to make friends. At the end, they meet Mario, and they will realize that they never needed to be cooler to fit in, they just needed to be themselves, effectively taking off their disguises and skins, showing their true self. However, after the partygoers realize that these new guests did indeed battle and steal their friend's skin, the ultimate battle commences. Who will be victorious in capturing Mario's castle? Now we're moving along to the game map. A game map is essentially a top-down representation of a game's environment, like a treasure map with annotated points of interest guiding the players through the world. But there's much more to that than just marking locations. A good map will show the player's journey, influencing their emotions and experiences while navigating the game. So as you can see in my game map, I've used angular shapes to help portray kind of the rush to the party. It's also kind of eerie and spooky. I've even used little triangles to mark off each one of the players' specific spots that they can gain cool points and have little rewarding either mini battles or platform battles that they can compete. So for instance, I've got brown from Goomba, I've got the purple for Burden and Boo, and then I've got the orange for Killa Koopa. And you can see that it goes to each one of these different forests. And we've got the stars at the major battles. So you've got the forest at one, you've got the platform at the other, and then the castle at the other, finally showing up to the big party. And if you zoom in on the map, you'll see that I've X'd out some faces of the characters that they stole the skin of on the long on their journey. So that's my game map right there. For the next topic, we're going to talk about an essential game aspect that can make or break in a player's experience, which is the shapes you choose for your environment and how they interact with your character's design. Creating environments and props is a lot like designing characters. In fact, the process is almost identical. Whether you're designing a character, animations, environments, props, game menus, or cover art, everything should stem from the same concept and mind map. This unified approach ensures that all game assets feel cohesive and interconnected. The shapes you choose for your environment play a crucial role in defining whether the space feels threatening or neutral to the players. Think of buildings and structures not as lifeless objects, but as living entities that it can influence a player's emotional state, much like characters do. So, when choosing shapes, it's important to think about what kind of feelings you want to elicit. For my game, I wanted to elicit these aggressive characters in an unwelcoming environment. So, I chose those shapes for that specific reason. In order to create harmony, I wanted to make sure that my characters all kind of stayed streamlined together with their backgrounds. So everything remained angular in nature, but everything still has a slight curvature to it, like the Mario world would, because I didn't want it to be a completely different game. I still wanted them to fit in, albeit strangely, into the environment. Next, I would like to compare and contrast a game that heavily influenced my idea of Rejects Request and Invite, which is Mario Rabbids, one of my favorite games to date. Both of these games are featuring turn-based tactical gameplay with distinct approaches. In the Rejects Request and Invite, players lead a squad of rejects through a warped world, collecting items to boost their cool points and facing off against elite guests. Victories allow players to steal opponents' skins and powers, adding to their strategic depth. In Mario plus Rabbids, it also emphasizes tactical battles with players using a combination of Mario and Rabbids characters with unique abilities. The gameplay includes cover-based shooting, team jumps, and special abilities, blending strategy with dynamic action. Now, the overall tone is slightly different. The Rejects Request and Invite mixes dark humor with an eerie atmosphere. The game's theme of exclusion and perseverance are derived with comedic twists, creating a unique blend of emotions and experiences. However, Rabbids maintains a lighthearted and humorous tone throughout. The Rabbids' antics are colorful and whimsical, and it feels fun and exciting. And a lot of those elements I would love to be able to capture in the Rejects Request and Invite, but just a more somber tone. In summary, both the Rejects Request and Invite and Mario Rabbids Kingdom offer engaging tactical gameplay with the Mario universe, but with different stylistics approaches. The Rejects Request and Invite brings a darker, more rebellious twist, while Mario Rabbids remains playful and whimsical in its charm. Each game provides a unique experience, catering to different tastes within the gaming community. Like to discuss concepts of imperfection, gravity, and movement used in my game design to enhance the feelings of weight and solidarity in my game characters and environment. In the Rejects Request and Invite, the concepts of imperfection, gravity, and movement are integral to enhancing the feelings of weight and solidarity of both the characters and the environment, creating a deeply immersive and relatable game experience. Here's how these elements are applied. First, imperfection. Imperfection is used to reflect the underdog status and gritty reality of the rejected characters and their environment. The world is designed to be a darker, twisted version of the cheerful Mario landscape, filled with jagged mountains, creepy castles, and shadowed forests. The imperfection of these environments, with its angular, distorted shapes and muted colors, contrasted sharply with the perfect, cheerful Mushroom Kingdom, emphasizing the struggle and resilience of the rejects. For example, Gritty Goomba, his angular and sharp-edged design, symbolizes his tough journey and resilience, with imperfections such as jagged spikes reinforcing his hardened character. The environment is sagging and uneven, and it's a little bit jagged. The mountains are jagged, and the creepy castle all helps visually communicate the weight and age of the environment, making it feel more realistic. For gravity, gravity plays a crucial role in conveying the physical presence and weight of characters and structures. By emphasizing how characters interact with gravity, the game creates a sense of solidarity and realism. Character's movement. For each character has a distinct way of moving that reflects their interaction with gravity. For instance, Bird and Boo, being ghostly, has a slow and floaty movement that speeds up when stressed, conveying his ethereal yet burdened existence. Environmental interactions. The environment is designed with gravity in mind, featuring elements like collapsing buildings, moving platforms, and environmental hazards. These elements not only challenge players, but also enhance the feeling of weight and solidity as the characters navigate these obstacles. Movement. Movement in the game is carefully crafted to reflect the character's unique traits and struggle against gravity, enhancing their weight and presence. Opposing curves and lines. For instance, the character's designs utilize the concept of opposing curves and lines to suggest movement and tension. For example, Gritty Goomba's angular lines and bursts of speeds after power-ups symbolize his resilience and determination, while Bird and Boo's flowing lines and fluctuating size convey its melancholic nature. Dynamic obstacles. The environment features dynamic obstacles like moving platforms and interactive objects that require strategic movement and problem solving. This not only adds to the gameplay challenge, but also reinforces the weight of the game and how the characters interact with these elements, creating a sense of physical presence in the world. Enhancing feelings of weight and solidity. To effectively communicate the weight and solidity of both characters and environments, several visual and gameplay elements are employed. Visual cues, such as muted colors and imperfect shapes, further enhance the feeling of a gritty world. For anatomical mechanisms, understanding the skeletal and muscular structures that prevent collapse under gravity, the characters' designs incorporate elements that reflect their struggle to stay upright and move. This game is really fun because gravity becomes much more make-believe. For instance, Bird and Boo hovers in place. He's not really defined by gravity's force in the same way that, say, Killa Koopa would be. Environmental integrations. The design of buildings and structures takes into account the effect of gravity and age, with elements of uneven foundations suggesting a prolonged struggle against gravity. This creates a believable sense of weight and age, enhancing the overall impression. By integrating imperfection, gravity, and movement into the game design, the Rejects Request and Invite not only creates a visually appealing and immersive world, but also deeply enhances the emotional and physical weight of the character's journey. This approach ensures that the players feel the struggle and triumphs of the Rejects, making their adventure both engaging and relatable. Next, I would like to explain my game in the terms of the following five elements of visual grammar that are lines, shapes, volumes, values, and colors. Lines. Lines are fundamental elements in visual design used to define shapes, create textures, and convey movement or directions. So lines within character design, for instance, are defined by angular, jagged lines that convey the rough, rebellious nature. These lines give the characters a sense of toughness and resilience. In the environment, the world features twisted, irregular lines to represent warped and eerie environments. This contrasts sharply with the smooth, rounded lines of Mario's universe, emphasizing the darker, more sinister atmosphere. Pathways and navigation. Lines guide players through the game's world. Curved lines in pathways create a sense of mystery and exploration, while straight, angular lines can suggest danger or urgency. You'll note that my map is made angular, and so are the tokens on the board to make everything appear like a speedy expedition to the party. Shapes. Shapes are crucial for understanding the visual identity and emotional tone of the game. We've spoken about this a lot throughout my video. And as we can see, my character shapes, they are mostly angular, symbolizing energy, danger, and aggression. Again, we've spoke about this before too, with my environmental shapes being irregular and imperfect, creating a sense of unease and tension. And then with my interactive elements, shapes and objects and obstacles are deliberately designed to reflect their functions and emotions that they can evoke. For instance, power-ups could have bright colors like the blocks that I've shown in one of the worlds I created. Volumes give a sense of dimensionality, adding to the depth and realizing realism of the game world. Character volumes, and the characters in Rejects, Request, and Invite have well-defined volumes that make them appear solid and grounded. Their interactions with gravity, such as Gritty's, Goomba's stomping, and Burn Boo's floating, emphasize their physical presence. Environmental volumes. The environments are designed with a focus on volume to enhance immersion. Uneven structures and detailed multi-layered landscapes create a believable and engaging world. The use of volumes make the world feel lived in and tangible. Dynamic obstacles. Volumes are also used to create dynamic obstacles that characters have to navigate. For instance, moving platforms and environmental hazards add depth to the gameplay and challenge players to think in 3 dimensions. Value. Value refers to the lightness or darkness of a color, helping to create a contrast of mood. So for instance, the character value highlights their importance and keeps them standing out against the background. So they have dark outlines and shading to add depth and definition to these rejected characters. Environmental value. The game world employs a range of values to create a moody atmospheric setting. Darker values dominate to reflect the eerie, foreboding environment, with lighter values used to highlight points of interest or safer zones. Value in gameplay impact. The value used strategically to guide players' attention and indicate interactive elements. High contrast areas often signify important locations or items, while low contrast areas might hide secrets or dangers. Color. Color is used to evoke emotions, set the tone, and distinguish different elements within the game. Character color, for instance, the rejected characters will use more muted, darker palettes to reflect their underdog status and gritty reality. The environment's color will feature a desaturated and moody scheme. This contrasts with the bright, vibrant colors in traditional Mario universe, reinforcing the sense of a twisted, dark world. The emotional impact of these colors are chosen to evoke particular emotions. For example, cool colors might be used in Shadowed Forest to create a sense of mystery and foreboding, while warm colors like red and orange can indicate danger and urgency. Guiding the players, colors are used to guide the player's journey so that they can find important items or pathways. To do this, they may be highlighted with more vivid colors to draw attention, ensuring players can navigate the world more effectively. Next, I would like to discuss what media, tools, and so forth I used to design my characters in this game and what the advantages and limitations of doing this was. So to create my game, I used Photopea and Canva. Photopea was used for the drawing portion, and I would occasionally use Canva to add filters to my drawings. I also would sometimes put it into MS Paint or use MS Paint for things like my map. Photopea was by far the easiest tool. It allowed me to add drop shadows and pixel draw my creations. However, I struggled deeply with having a laptop that I could only use a trackpad on. That was really time consuming and hard. I wish I had a stylist and better tools, but it was a very good learning practice in drawing and patience. Further, certain tools in Photopea, like shape creation, were unable to be drawn over or erased easier, led to me having to spend hours of troubleshooting. So these very simple drawings sometimes took hours upon hours to create. But it was worth it because it was really fun. Overall, I loved this class. It was challenging and rewarding. While I am still no artist, no Picasso, it really has employed me with tools that I could use in the future to continue and practice with. And I have enjoyed all of the feedback. It has been a wonderful class. So thank you. Have a great day. Bye.